Hello everyone, it is me Train, and today I will be continuing what will be a series of the AUs where I swap around the characters of the Owl House. And as you can see, this is taking place in Amity's AU. I will be swapping the Noceda family and the Blight family, with Camila in place of both parents and Luce in place of Amity. So first off, we are starting with Luce, and as of doing this voice recording, I've realised it's probably a bad idea to start the drawing on the face, because then I have less to talk about, because, well, it's just a face. So I'll try not to do that next time. So for her hair is straightened and is longer than in the show because she's trying to be in a way that's considered more normal amongst her peers, because her dad died very recently in the set of the show and she wants to make things as easy for her mother as possible. So she tries to fit in more and tries to conform, which I'm quite sure is what it was supposed to represent in the show, that they straightened their hair, and especially Camila's, whose hair straightener is seen in the bin after she starts accepting herself and her daughter, so that's kept throughout this. Ignore the shorts I'm giving Luce. They will be disappearing soon. I'm trying to give her an outfit that feels like it fits into the Boiling Isles as best as I can. So I do end up changing a lot of her outfit later, like giving her long sleeves over the puffy sleeves and the leggings instead of the shorts. She felt too much like a toddler in The Sims 4, and I did not want her to look like that, so I changed it. Hooray. So for Luce's story, she starts out not being like actively mean to the person who will be in the place of Willow in this AU, but she does end up like being friends with people who aren't as nice to her and not really explaining why she stopped talking to her as much, but it's because her dad passed away. Because I can't really see Luce being like actively that mean, but she still does need to be in some way antagonistic at the beginning of the series. So she's this character who's putting a lot of pressure on herself. She's trying to fill in the space left by her father, so she ends up being in the healing track. She ends up in the healing track so that she can try and end up taking the job that her father used to have, and she's becoming friends with people who aren't the nicest because she wants to make more connections. And like in the actual Owl House, she does still have some like difficulty with her peers, but it's more internal in this. She ends up like being more quiet, and she's in her head a lot. She's in her mind a lot so that she can just go through each day. Her being complacent in this is brought up throughout the show in the times where we talk about the Willow equivalent, who I don't actually know who they are yet because I'm keeping who I'm swapping in the Hex Squad within the Hex Squad, meaning those three will just kind of be scrambled around with each other. And it's worth mentioning that the pairings will be of the same characters and not the same equivalents, because like there's an odd number and I cannot have the same equivalents throughout all of them, because if I were to just like swap Hunter than Willow, that means Gus, it's just Gus again. So I have to switch them around in a 3, which is really annoying, but I did this to myself, and it might be less annoying than trying to figure out what's going on if I throw them into some other completely different character. So whoever they are, it will be brought out throughout the series to build up to the Understanding Willow type episode, where the death of her father is revealed to the audience to give us more context as to why she is the way she is, and she tries to make it up for them as in the actual show. Most episode story beats go about the same, especially since they both are interested in the Good Witch Azora. Like in the show, they're both interested in the Good Witch Azora, so that doesn't end up changing at all. Oh, and I did end up giving Luce an unnatural eye color because her direct color pick eye color is kind of a very weird shade of brown, and I realized, and I usually make that brown just a more eye colory shade of brown instead that fits with the way I do colors more, but I figured, hey, this is the Boiling Isles and Amity already has unnatural colored eyes. Let's just give Luce unnaturally colored eyes. Next up, we of course have Gamila, who is standing in place of both Adalia and Alador. Manny is not included as like one of them because his death is very important to the story that I came up with. And like I probably mentioned in the last video, she will still be like a well-meaning mother who doesn't mean to hurt Luce, and the solution to their problems is through open communication. Hooray! I first watched the show like after it came out, except for the final episode, and I didn't really like see anything in the fandom at that point. So when I went back to look at it, I was very, very confused about how like people were thinking Camila was abusive, especially physically, like because of her being Latina, which I never really understood. I know that that is an actual issue within the community, but I was raised by like someone who purposefully decided not to continue the cycle, and I love my mom. Yeah, my Colombian mother was way less abusive and violent than my white British father. So that's just my experience, and that's how I see Camila. I see her being someone who actively chose to not hurt her daughter as she grew up, because she didn't want to, because she knew it was bad and didn't want to continue something that she knew would hurt her. It's especially with the fact that after Luce brought explosives and snakes into school, she just gently sat her down and talked to her about it. It was partially inspired by like the really, really wild take that Adalia wasn't actually abusive, because the things she brought up in the Escaping Expulsion episode were actually valid concerns, which is true. But if you were to take a moment to listen to what Adalia says to all the other characters around her, she's not using these valid concerns because she's concerned. She's doing it to actively isolate her daughter so that she can end up changing her to be the way that she wants her to be. I'm not sure how people came to this conclusion. Not a significant amount of people, just like around 2 or something. It's weird. But for this, Camila is actually genuinely concerned for her daughter's well-being, and that's why Escaping Expulsion happens. She comes to the school with all the complaints, and by the end of the episode she realizes that her daughter does need these friends because it's the happiest she's been in a while. So throughout the series, she plays the part of a minor antagonist like Adalia does, but also the part of someone who tries to fix her mistakes and reconnect with her daughter like Alador does. In the story, she was like a beast keeper and Manny was a healer, and they'd work somewhere together somehow. Like, where they worked was directly next door to each other, which might make it feel like it's more of a like space that Luce feels like she needs to grow up and fit. And Luce and Camila isn't trying to pressure her. It's Luce putting lots of pressure on herself, and Camila later discusses this with her daughter. On her actual design, I tried to give her layered clothes with more pointy around the shoulders, but also poofy sleeves to try and give it a feel of the Boiling Isles, and specifically the Blight family, where they like both of them have some type of point at their shoulders, and Alador has some poofy-ish sleeves. I also gave them both matching necklaces. They're not the Oracle talking through the brain type necklaces. They're just necklaces that Camila bought for both of them after Manny passed away. Her hair's in a bun, which makes it look both like Adalia and like her hair in the very first episode. I was trying to make her sleeves and her jumper not look too sweaterish, and I tried to do the shading a bit different than usual so it doesn't look like a sweater, but I don't think that really worked. I also gave her boots. A lot of residents on the Boiling Isles have boots, so they both have boots. Hooray. I think I made it better by like trying to give her sleeves, like, you're able to see the back a little, which makes it look like the fabric is firmer, and it makes the sleeves look bigger so they're more noticeable, so it doesn't look too much like sweater material. And I think that made like the undershirt look more Boiling Islesy. But like, tell me what you think if you want to. You don't have to, but I'd appreciate that. You know, I'd also appreciate, you know what I'd also appreciate? I'd appreciate if you liked and subscribed. 'Cause like, then I can see you like it and want more. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. I'm able to say that. I'm saying things that YouTube people say. Isn't that crazy? Wow. It's so cool. I'm being mildly annoying. Or very annoying. That depends on your personal interpretation. Hooray. So here's the final edition of their designs. So yeah, that's it. Goodbye. Goodbye. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm talking to myself in my room.